Yes, that sequence of words I said made perfect sense.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is...
Morning somewhere!
For July 11th, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns. Sitting right over there, fresh off her advancement to the Euro Finals, is Ashley Burns. How you doing, Ash?
I'm feeling real red and white.
We're feeling really red and white. Gotcha. Now I get it. So when you were saying red and white, you were saying because Spain is red and England's white, or were you saying because England is red and white?
Because England is red and white.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. We're on the same page now. We just have to explain ourselves to each other.
Just every now and again. So England versus Spain are the final in the Euros 2024.
England advanced to the finals after having a goal taken away for a penalty. I couldn't hear it. I assume it was offsides. They had a goal late and it was taken away. And then they scored in dramatic fashion in the 90th minute and 20 seconds.
The drama, the excitement.
Into stoppage time. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm trying, guys. I'm doing my best. When in Rome.
Overtime, bruh. Overtime.
It was over. Yeah, they had overtime and they moved the ball. You know, it's just 1 inch at a time in football. But the championship match, the final match, will be played this weekend. I believe in Berlin is where they're playing. So I know a lot of people will be looking at it. Ben King and I were at this tiny little pub that's got one TV. Like the one TV in the village closest to us is kind of like, how big would you say that thing is? Like maybe 24 inches, maybe 30-inch TV, like up in the corner, and everyone was watching this. We were watching like through a window on the other side of the bar, watching the match.
Was it packed?
I mean, it was packed, but that doesn't take a lot, you know what I mean? But yeah, that room where the TV was pretty packed, yeah.
Nice. Was it a good time?
Oddly enough, a lot of Dutch people. England defeated the Netherlands last night. So it was a muted celebration. A, you're rooting for England in Scotland. And then B, there's all these Dutch around doing their Dutch stuff, whatever the Dutching they do. Just Dutching it up over there. Sorry for your loss, guys.
Yeah. You know what? Look, the pub is a good place to be either way, because you're either celebrating a win or you can drink off the loss.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of traffic leaving the pub. You know, we didn't get stuck in a traffic jam leaving the car park. I have to correct myself now on words all the time. I said trousers yesterday instead of pants. I was so proud of myself.
I feel like we're making the effort, particularly for Finn and now Evie's benefit.
Yes,
and it's a few really specific things that we've made a concerted effort to modify our language on. One of those is instead of saying pants, we need to say trousers, because pants here is underwear, right? So if we use the word pants around the house, the kid uses the word pants at school, and then, I don't know, then his name is Pants for the rest of his school career.
It doesn't sound like a big distinction until you realize what you talk to kids about with their trousers and their pants. Because if we're out somewhere at a park and I say, don't stomp in the puddle, you're going to get your pants all dirty. Other people are like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, a word I've given up on immediately, which I can say here for our primarily American audience, biggest demographic, I don't know if they're mostly American, is I can say the word fanny, and I don't say the word fanny anymore. That's gone.
That's gone. That's out of the vocabulary. Although,
means something totally different here.
Let's be honest, Bernie. How often were you using the word fanny?
It wasn't hard to get rid of it.
You're not my grandmother, okay?
But to be fair, Ashley, the words you say less often, you don't think about them as much when you go to say them either.
I guess that's true. Like, you're not on guard.
Right. You're not thinking, I got to replace this one. The find and replace in my head returns like one fanny per year anyway. This is the most I've said fanny in a long time. I'm setting a record now for fannies in a row. This might be, let me do it one more time. Fanny. There we go.
Just line the fannies up, okay?
That must be the most amount of times I've said fanny. Sorry if you're listening to this at work in the UK. It means something different to us, okay? It means something different.
Yes.
All right, while we're talking about records.
Yes.
Inside Out 2 is now the highest grossing Pixar movie of all time, has beat Incredibles 2. So it continues its march.
Yeah, which is insane. So it has now grossed $1.251 billion in global ticket sales. The Incredibles 2 was $1.242 billion. So it's a $0.01 billion over.
Okay, and growing.
And growing.
We should see, I'm sure on Monday we'll have new box office numbers for the weekend. to talk about it. But the real news, going back to everything that's going on in the box office, is we talked about the curse of naming something.
Do you have
chapter 1?
Do you happen to have like a drop or something that's like, I was right? Because
Yeah.
in this particular case, you should. So
But it's not something to be happy about. Like
It's
this, we're talking about
not.
Horizon Chapter 2 has now been officially pulled from theaters from its
Bernie,
August release date.
Bernie, please, got it back. Horizon: An American Saga, Chapter 2.
Of the Kingdom of the Apes. It was supposed to be coming out, we talked about this before, in a very short window after Chapter 1. And as we surmised was possible, it has now been pulled from theaters.
Yes, so it was scheduled to hit theaters August 16th, but after the lukewarm reception to Chapter 1 late last month, and it hasn't really picked up steam over the holiday period, they are temporarily is the idea. They've removed it from the theatrical schedule, the Chapter 2 that is, and they're going to quickly put Horizon on, it sounds like home video essentially. That's going to be hitting premium home video on the 16th of July. So once again, like Furiosa, a very fast turnaround.
Why do you always have to bring up Furiosa in every discussion
Furiosa
this year?
podcast. And
But as you had a little bit of conjecture about that, they are trying to move it to video on demand and streaming in order to build an audience to keep Chapter 2 going.
yes, so here's a specific quote. This is from a New Line spokesperson. Territory Pictures and New Line Cinema have decided not to release Horizon Chapter 2 on August 16th in order to give audiences a greater opportunity to discover the first installment of Horizon over the coming weeks, including PVOD and Max.
I would say, while we're on the topic of things we were right about, when I did that deep dive onto the release structure of Horizon and American Saga, the entire saga, people were talking about it because it was a Warner Brothers distributed project, but it's not Warner Brothers that made this decision. It was New
No.
Line and Kevin Costner. It was the investors, essentially.
Yes. So they're basically rethinking their strategy.
Yeah.
So, if they want to get all 4 of the volumes of, chapters of this saga out, they understand that just putting the first one in the theater was not enough, that they need to do more. So they're going to try to build the audience by getting this in front of more people.
My only thing I was miffed about was the social media thing that Kevin Costner did as he was announcing his departure from Yellowstone, where he said he had that kind of cheeky, I'll see you at the movies, like I'm a movie star kind of a thing. That rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not happy about this at all. Horizon is an original project. It's a new property. It's something that an artist that I admire, that I've watched his work for literally decades. It's something he's been working on for a long time. And he took the gut check and financed it primarily by himself or by going out and finding other investors. That's something I want to see win. I wanted to see this thing win and do well. I didn't want anyone to think that I didn't want Horizon to do well. I don't take, even though it turned out to be in some version of what I said right, I don't want people to think you take that as a win in any possible way. Does that make sense? I just don't want people to think I'm happy about something like this. I'm definitely not happy about this.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where he put his own money behind it. This is a passion project. He does not intend to stop. From what I understand, they're planning on resuming shooting for Chapter 3 in August. So they're not stopping work on it.
Yeah.
On the overall saga, just rethinking the strategy for how they release it. And I don't think it's necessarily a poor strategy, because there's a lot of things that have done not so well in theaters and then come out, and then because it's more accessible when it's in the home, it's just a lot easier for people to give it a chance, decide they like it, and then when the next one is ready to come out, they're on board to go to the theater for it.
Like Fury Road. But it's I do want to say that, a lot of sequels being out there, that's what's really driving it forward now, the whole box office. It's all sequels again. We don't want all sequels. We do want new cool stuff coming out.
But Bernie, someone has been looking at the box office and they're doing the arithmetic. They're seeing the numbers go up on specifically animated sequels. And you know what they've decided, Bernie? What we're really asking for is Shrek 5.
What we're really asking for is Shrek 5. Every millennial just went, what? What'd you say?
What? So this is the craziest thing. They've announced Shrek 5 is coming from DreamWorks next July. So they said, everyone loves an animated sequel in the summer, so let's get right on that. So it is going to be coming out next year, next summer. The crazy thing about that, Bernie, there's 4. here's what I remember.
There's 4 Shrek movies.
Yes, I remember Shrek, of course. And then I remember Shrek 2, where they go to meet her parents, her family.
You're already way past me.
And then Crickets. I don't know. I haven't seen. I'm clearly behind. You know, they had a whole spin-off of Puss in Boots.
And the crazy thing to me is there's a whole version of the first Shrek that is voiced by Chris Farley and not by Mike Myers.
What?
They did the whole movie with Chris Farley before he passed away, and then brought in Mike Myers and redid the entire thing. You can go out and watch like major sections of that movie that have been leaked or released.
How did I not know this?
Yeah, that Chris Farley was the original Shrek. Yeah. Crazy to think how different that would be if he hadn't died at such a young age. Right?
Yeah, that would be a wildly different franchise, I think.
While we're talking about new properties in theaters, we're not going to talk about box office. I hope the whole day here. 2 things, short things in the news. There is a new original property, or at least an adapted original. Adapted original? Oh, that's a thing. Borderlands is coming out later this year based on the video game franchise.
Next month.
It has had some early screenings, and without any spoilers at all, the reviews that have been coming out early for the movie are not great, which I find disappointing.
Yeah, it's. I won't say it's surprising. Just from watching the trailer, I was like, I can't tell what this movie is. Like, it's something. Just the trailer itself seems off to me. But I want it to be good. One, because I'm really enjoying the recent trend of video game adaptations being good. From whether it's Mario, whether it's Fallout, Last of Us, and so on. I would like a really fun, campy, colorful, crazy action, like over the top action, irreverent movie, and that's what it seems like Borderlands could be. It doesn't necessarily seem like that's what it is, though. You know, I want the movie to be good. It seems like maybe it was in... I feel like they were trying to make this movie for a really long time, right? Maybe it was in pre-production so long that it's sort of a relic of the pre-they were good era.
You know, it'd be funny. You know what they should do for Borderlands? They should just call it Borderlands 2. Not make it Borderlands 1. Just immediately release it as a sequel, and that's it. You know, but the video game itself, Borderlands, went through a late last-minute change because it wasn't being well-received in testing. And so then they changed it to the cel-shaded aesthetic that people associate with the game. And oddly enough, Claptrap wasn't in the game until like 4 days before release. It was Chris Farley. We should have talked about this before we talked about Borderlands, but while we were talking about Horizon, all the photos that I see associated, like the pull that they've done from PR photos that run alongside these Horizon articles, is Kevin Costner in Western gear pointing a gun at the camera. I'm like, that is not the photo you want out this week about Horizon, because...
Oh, you mean because of the Alec Baldwin trial?
Yeah, he just started trial for the Rust shooting where the cinematographer died.
Before the trial, it seemed like we heard a lot about that he was going to be on trial in his role as producer.
Right.
Because as producer would have had some responsibility over the safety on set, hiring, et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm hearing now is that he's on trial in his capacity as actor. So it's
I don't understand it, but it'll come out in the trial.
It'll come out in the trial, but it's an interesting thing. It's taking place right now, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more as it goes. And to find out what it is, you can tune in to Alec Baldwin's reality show, I guess.
I don't know why they're doing a reality show. I guess they're filming it right now while a trial's going on. I don't understand why with his family. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
When he's going to be on trial, it's just like the weirdest thing ever, man. Weirdest thing ever.
It's an odd choice for sure.
Yeah. So in other news, getting away from all this movie and TV talk, there was a recent dismantling of Russian government-backed AI disinformation bots. Did you read about this?
That's a mouthful. Go on.
Yeah, Russian propaganda campaign backed by the Kremlin that spread online disinformation in the United States and was boosted by artificial intelligence has been disrupted, the Justice Department said Tuesday. U.S. officials described the internet operation as part of an ongoing effort to sow discord in the U.S. through the creation of fictitious social media profiles that purport to belong to authentic Americans.
So, I mean, can I ask you a question, Bernie? Do you feel like AI is the new buzzword for things that have existed sort of this whole time, but now AI is just like the thing that makes them seem cool or new? Like that would have been like a botnet. Bots have been like a thing on social media or whatever, like fake accounts, like whatever has been a thing for years and years on social media. But now they're like, but it's AI.
Right. The term bots is like now gone to AI mainly. Also, I just think it's like, this is all to me pre-AI. These aren't actually artificially intelligent things, right?
Right.
They're still very advanced scripts and algorithms, and we're labeling a lot of different things AI that aren't, because that doesn't exist yet.
It's like, it's just the buzzword that's now a catch-all for anything that's generated.
I guess AI adjacent or pre-AI doesn't really hack it these days.
Pre-AI.
But so this crackdown by the Justice Department, they're heralding as a huge move in order to reduce, this mass assembly line effort to sow discord in the U.S. during the election.
Man, I feel like it's like you get the fly swatter and it's great. You got a fly and you turn around and there's like 10 more flies.
Yeah. What are you going to do? JD was introduced me to a new term. It's called enshittification, which is just how things get worse over time. And now, like, social media platforms and discourse online. Last this last Tuesday, we just talked about comments and everything. Right after we talked about comments, Spotify, and we were talking about Spotify making changes. Spotify has made a change. What's the new change on Spotify, Ash?
Well, we figured out what happened to Crunchyroll's comments. Spotify stole them. So Spotify.
Yeah, that's why people are commenting about Naruto on Joe Rogan. Why are they doing that?
So Spotify got rid of their Q&A feature on things like episodes of podcasts, and they've replaced it now with just general comments.
Yeah.
So instead of like you asking a question and getting sort of directed answers, it's just comments in general. So I guess they picked up the tech, the AI,
just copy and pasted it over from Crunchyroll. I don't know. When I was talking with other people about this who don't use Spotify other than to listen to, like, why would I leave a comment on something on Spotify? Like, it doesn't even make sense to them. But it's a new platform that is trying out comments. So be sure to leave a comment. Can you like something on Spotify?
Leave us a comment
and hit that bell, and then whatever the fucking thing is. Whatever new thing they've invented to undo all the work we've done in the past. Make sure you hit that thing too.
Speaking of, I'd like to thank some sponsors for today. Specifically, I want to give a shout out to Andrew Herman, who is an audio engineer who sent us
that was amazing.
It was really great. He sent us a whole breakdown of like audio analysis and what we could do to fix the podcast. So thank you to Andrew Herman for helping us figure out the what was triggering Spotify's auto normalization and comments and sorting that out for us.
I mean, Andrew, thank you very much. I cannot stress enough this breakdown that he sent us where he had tested different cases of different episodes with auto normalization on and things like that. It was incredible. So thank you very much. And sorry to everyone who had to put up while we were troubleshooting that problem. But it turns out it didn't affect that many people, and now we figured it out, and we're perfect going forward. No more technical issues until the end of time, Ashley.
Ever. And I'd also like to thank Jake Cahill and Matthew Proudlock for sponsoring this episode of the podcast at patreon.com/Morning Somewhere.
All right, well, that does it for us today, July 11th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. Welcome back, Ashley. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.